So we're gonna record.
Yes, ma'am.
I'm not gonna go live. So I didn't want to cut you off, but I'm like, when we tell
No,
people
that's
we're
good.
going live at 12, we need
Let's
to
do
go
it.
live
It's
at
moving.
12. All right. Um, but- Anita Brown. Oh, well, it looks like that's not happening anyway, so we're just going to record you and me because it
Okay.
won't let me go live. I don't understand why it
Okay.
doesn't do that. So you and me are going to have this fantastic conversation because I am so interested to learn more about you and what you do and where you came from because I know we just chatted a little bit beforehand, but welcome, Anita, to Inner Motion Wellness. So this podcast is literally built for women over the age of 40 to help them really tap into their inner wellness. How do we do that? So I have, loads of, professionals like you to come on to share their inspiration, their experiences, their education on how women can tap into that, inner motion. Like, how do we get ourselves motivated to stay well? What do we need to do? All those things. So I'm excited for you to share with us a little bit about how we can tap into that inner wisdom through breathing, because I know that's something that you're working on. So welcome. So glad
Thank
you're here.
you. Thank you.
So tell
Oh
me a
my
little
gosh.
bit about your background.
Give me a different
Yeah.
question. I gotta start. I
Tell
gotta
me
start somewhere.
tell me a little bit about your background. Like, how did you get to where you're at and what you're doing and how you're helping women or
Okay.
people in general?
So,
But we're going to talk to
okay.
women.
All right. I started massage therapy in my 20s. I went to school for massage therapy and I started that career mainly because I was a really shy person. And I kind of felt like that was the best way to work. I didn't have to interact with people. I could just touch them and make them feel better, and they didn't have to talk to me and I didn't have to talk to them. And that was a perfect career for me at the time. It really helped me blossom into the person I am. And through all of the education I received in massage therapy and also the hands-on experience, just the experiential work of being with people in their attention, that just put me on this enormous wellness journey. And I feel like I've learned a lot about how we hold tension and trauma and in our bodies, and then just through life, I worked with a lot of just normal people with jobs and where they carry tension and why. And so that a 20-year career span has happened. I went to college. I stopped doing massage so much. I started a massage therapy program. I became a program director for that for a while. That was really stressful. That program was terminated. And then I thought about, like, I love massage therapy and I love giving massages. But it got to a point where it's like, that's not what I wanted to do for full-time work anymore. So I really wanted to transition to something different. So I kept that as a part-time thing and got a job, just got a normal job at a orthodontic office. So now I have the kind of job that a lot of my clients had as just like a administrative worker. So I am a business development coordinator for a local orthodontist. I love the work, and I've decided to transition all of my body of knowledge of actual hands-on work to a more of like a wellness community platform of education and maybe experiential learning through wellness workshops and an online community, which I'm still building. So I am not like, I'm a wellness facilitator, but I am not like, here's my entire program. Like, I'm still building it. But in the meantime, I've got some social media to connect with, and a newsletter to, connect with for anybody that wants to communicate with me. That's the starting point of where this all is for me. But what I noticed where I am in my own wellness journey over the past, I'm 47. So from the time I was 20 until now, I've been on this crazy, just really wide, big, deep wellness journey of quitting smoking, quitting drinking, exercising, going like healing past traumas and everything. So where I am in my wellness journey and what I've learned in my body work experience, I have been trying to figure out like where is the starting point for everyone else. So I think it's like it's about boundaries and it's about like, you know, being creating safety in yourself so you can like sit in your truth and then make those really hard decisions that you need to make to like really open up your life to what you to be in alignment with your inner world. And that is, I think, where a lot of people want to go. But I think that people aren't even living in their bodies enough to understand like what does that truth feel like. And what I noticed in a recent wellness workshop when I was teaching I was just doing like teaching a breath exercise to like create a metaphor for releasing and renewing. And what I realized, like my instructions for like how to breathe out and how to breathe in to demonstrate this metaphor, nobody got it. They were like, what are you talking about? You're talking about what you're describing to breathe out. That's already what I do to breathe in. I'm like, what? So we talked about it and I was like, you know what? I think a problem that we have, particularly as women, is that we're not breathing properly. And that leads to gut health issues and anxiety, poor circulation. It can lead to depression because we're not breathing with our belly, and it's all upper because we're not allowed to have a poochy belly. So it can't go out and we have to have it tight and tucked in. And if we don't release that, we're not breathing properly. So I went through this like quick, here's how to breathe properly thing. And the women were just like, wow, I had no idea. Like that's what blew their minds. And I was like, you know what? I think that my starting point in the discussion on how to live in alignment with yourself has got to start a lot earlier in the journey than I kind of thought. It's more about like, how do we invite ourselves back into our body and feel safe just moving how our body is intended to move. So
And
I'm
and
starting to
breathing.
create, yes,
Yeah.
and breathing is one of those things. And so I am just now developing some content to put out there to teach people to breathe properly and then
I
take it from
love.
there.
Perfect. And I've been making notes while you're talking because I'm like, I want to hit on some of the really great things that you probably didn't even realize that you said. Because, you know, I find that when we're in this space of connection, we channel a lot, right? Like, so we will get stuff that comes in and out. Because I think you hit the nail on the head in terms of like women need a starting point. And you talked about, you know, like the different, you know, what is that starting point? And I feel like the starting point for women is that they need to make a decision. You need to really like let me know like when you're watching this, even in the replay, like chat, like just type yes if like you don't even know where to start when it comes to your overall general wellness. Like there's so many things because you already talked about like is it do you start with the anxiety? Do you start with depression? Do you start with the gut? Do you start with the this? Do you start with the that? Like all the symptoms, your physical symptoms, the unwell physical symptoms that your body's giving you. Like do you start with those, or women don't even know that. No, that it's like there's even you can even go earlier than that to be like get into your body and just focus on your breath, which is what I love so much about yoga. But because I do believe yoga is for everybody. You just have to find it for yourself and give yourself the permission to do that, right? Like, but like you don't have to even go to yoga to focus on your breath. Like even just giving yourself the permission to sit still for like 2 minutes, probably even, and just focus on your breath. Like that's the stillness that women really need to give themselves. Would you not agree? Like
I
or
do agree. And I
make
mean,
a decision for the love of God to be like, I am going to do this for myself. 2 minutes or however long you recommend or suggest, but literally like it takes 2 minutes to stop, focus on your breath, give yourself that gift, And, so that then you can move forward to work towards all the other things, right? Because some women won't allow themselves to stop because of all the stuff that you talked about, the trauma and the tension in their body, right? Like I swear to God, when I go to yoga sometimes or just exercise in general, I don't even realize how much tension I'm holding in certain areas of my body. Same with massage. I don't even realize how tense I am until I put my body in a position where it's like, holy crap, I can't even move my arm today in that direction. Or I go to massage and they're like, oh, you have a lot. I'm like, ah, okay. So that's where it's being held in there. You don't even realize, right?
Yes. And I think what happens is we become conditioned to that level of tension in our life. Like that becomes the normal. So of course we're not going to notice how tense we are because it's crept up and we've been like weathering the storm, and that's become our new normal. So it almost becomes unfathomable to thinking like, well, I don't even know what it would feel like to relax. Like, what do you mean? I don't even know. And I think that women do come to a place, particularly probably like 40 on, at some points, like something magical happens at 40 where we're like, are we allowed to cuss on this? We're like, what the
Yes,
hell?
that's the
We're
way.
like, fuck
Say
everybody.
it.
I just need to take care of myself. So at
Yeah,
some
yeah, yeah,
point,
yeah,
women
yeah.
do decide that. And a lot of times it'll be like, I just need to take time for myself. And that ends up being like, take time to not feel guilty about getting our nails done or our hair done or a facial or a massage. Like, and that's where like taking care of our bodies comes, like we'll do self-care of like taking care of ourselves, like do something pampering for ourselves. And I think eventually, because we do those things, but we're still dealing with anxiety, we're still dealing with
Yeah.
gut health problems, we're still dealing with just like the topsy-turviness of emotions. And that's where it's like we need to come into we need to find the safety in being in our bodies.
Yeah. And honestly, Anita, I don't even think getting your nails done, getting facials done, getting those things done, if you have to leave your house, are not even, I don't even think those are self-care. I think those are luxuries that women can afford themselves. I think true self-care is being in the safety of your home or somewhere else. Like basic self-care is in wherever you feel safe, like you were saying. And I really feel like getting down to the basics of self-care is like when you say tapping into your body, because women are not living in their body anymore. And nobody in our past generation, God bless them, I mean, they were fighting for equality. They didn't really have time to stop and think about menopause and how what our body goes through that process. They were fighting for equality, and we're on our way there. And in the meantime, we're going through the shit storm of hormone influxes. So I don't even think women know how their bodies work. Period. Like
No, I agree with you.
we're going so against the body's natural state. And this is just new to me, honestly. In 15, 20 years of fitness, I never once thought to think, oh, let's exercise according to our cycle. Like that was never taught to me in any fitness workshop. I mean, I attended those CanFit Pro conferences faithfully every year. Nobody ever talked about that. And so it's like, holy crap, 15 years, nobody once talked about women and hormones and body and how our body works. And so listening to that inner wisdom of our body, that now, it was such a relief. I was like, oh, thank God. Like women we do too much, more than we're able to even like physically manage hormonally. And we're going above and beyond what our body's capabilities are, right? And it's like, can we just get back to the basics? Like stop for 2 seconds, rest, digest, like slow down. And this is more after a certain age, like you said, after 40, something magically happens. Yeah, it's called perimenopause. And you know what? We're meant to literally slow down at that point. Doesn't mean you have to stop. It just means you have to give yourself more opportunities to rest because stress is not going anywhere anytime soon. I don't think. Do you think it's going anywhere anytime soon? Like, do you think, and most women like are, I want to run away. Yeah, well, you have to come back to your family and your job and your whatever. Like, and then not only that, we have ailing parents, right? Like my parents are like getting up there. They're in their early 70s now, starting to see the, you know, calling me to ask me about, what's, can you help me with this? Can you help me with that? So it's like we have added stresses when we should be having less. So it's like, women are just we need to get them back to the simple basics of connecting, like you said, to our body, breath, rest. Oh, and that doesn't even take a lot. Do you think it takes a lot?
I don't think it takes a lot, and I agree with you. We do need voices teaching women how to come back to themselves and stay. And
Mm,
you were mentioning about just the women's lib and like how much we have available to us now. It's really wonderful to have all this available to us. We can create so much for our lives, and we're still taking care of everybody. So we've gained this amount of like opportunity, and we're still taking care of everybody, and now we're taking care of an entire financial household or whatever it is. We're juggling both of these worlds, and yeah, I mean it is a lot, and it's not going to go away. Stress won't go away for anybody, men either. I mean, stress won't go away. And when you talk about escaping, like I get it, and I hated it when it was like, oh, I just need to escape with massage. It's like, well, that's great, but what we're really doing is getting you back in your body. And if you actually engage with your body, you can kind of figure out like, why are you holding this tension? Because it's going to tell you something, and then you can actually make a decision to do something different when you're outside of this massage. Because everyone was always asking like, how often should I get a massage? And all this whatever. It's like, well, what are you doing for yourself outside of the session is what I always said. It's like, it depends on what you're doing for your self-care otherwise. um
I could live in
I'm losing my train
massage.
of thought now, but
Swear to God.
I mean, it's wonderful. It's a wonderful time to like just be reintroduced to your body. Like, oh,
Hi.
that
Oh, this is,
hurts. Great. If
yes.
somebody else just helps me to like press on that spot so I can just like observe it and breathe into it and feel the relaxation afterwards. Being able to take that body awareness outside of the session to then like really pay attention to, when am I starting to become tense again? What do I need to do differently now? You were talking about the decisions and the self-care is not really getting your nails done and all that stuff. And it's true. I don't see it that way either. I mean, there is a level of self-care of like just feeling good with ourselves, and that's one of the things, like just to feel good in the way we're presenting is one thing. I just don't think that women have been given the conversation or the permission, or the education about coming into our body, finding the wisdom there, and then making decisions, because the stress won't go away. But if we feel safe in making the decisions of how to manage that stress, because we can still take care of our kids and our jobs and our house and our husbands or wives or whoever, like we can still take care of all the people if we have good boundaries. Like, taking care of the people doesn't mean we're having to be stretched thin. It means like we're caring for people in the ways that feel really good to us, and we are allowing them to take care of themselves. So
Yeah. Yeah. We're not
learning
saying
those
abandon
skills.
everybody. We're saying, how about
Mm-hmm.
you just put yourself first? Do you first, and then. That's it. No one's saying don't do them, like help them or support your family. Do you first, or at least at the same time, or something, right? Like, don't do you last, because then you'll have less for yourself. The more you do for you first, then you have more to give them, or just give them the rest. Even if you just give them the rest, and at the end of the day, you like, flop on your couch and you're like, wow, like I did for me and I did for my family. Like, that's rewarding, I think, for me, is when I can, at the end of the day, like be like, wow, I feel, for me, it's satisfaction, but literally that only comes if I have moved or addressed my body in some way. Usually it requires movement. God, if it was a massage, I like you said, I could go to massage every day, like once a week for sure, right? Like that'd be my ultimate wellness thing is like a massage a week. Because you'd be surprised how much stuff you can move and where you're holding your tension that you don't even realize it. But we digress in that. But yeah, like I think that just, how do we help women understand you first, fill your cup.
Right. Yeah. So I'm glad you said that, because fill your cup is, if we focus on our self-care, if we focus on our well-being, we are filling our cup. So for me, that is like, I have got to prioritize exercise. I also have to prioritize having a clean house. And I also need a certain amount of alone time. So that I know what I need to fill my cup. And as I fill my cup, I am naturally joyous. And
Mhm.
that natural joy then spills out. So when you were saying like, do your thing first and then let people have the rest, I offer a different perspective of focus on filling your cup and letting people have the overflow.
Right.
So it's, people are getting what they need from you because you are getting what you need for yourself.
Yeah. Yeah. I love that. And that's kind of what I meant. But
Yeah.
when let's look at needs, I swear, and this is no fault, this is no judgment. This took a long time for me to even come to my own realizations of needs and wants. Um, but there's needs and basic needs and wants. There's like goals, and then there's like dreams, right? I feel like there's, you know, nobody or not enough people are spending the time to give themselves. And I think this is the kind of work that fills your cup in terms of like when you're empty, it's because you have no idea what it is that you need. Because if you knew what you needed, you would take action towards it. And then if you filled your cup, wow, you would even have, like you said, the joy, the energy, the even the mindset to start to open up the possibilities to talk about what do you want to achieve. Like honestly, even if the goal is to like sit down and breathe for 2 minutes or however long every single day, that's what you need. These are basic functioning. I don't even know. Give me a percentage on how many women you think are living sub like below their body's ability.
I
What do
mean,
you think?
I think that there's so much more than I thought. But my world has been wellness for so long. And then just who I am, I kind of feel like, oh, everyone's just like me. But the more women I engage with, I'm like, oh, wait a minute, you're not breathing, or you're cycling through some stuff and having a hard time getting out of it. And I recognize that um, in my past. Um, so I think it's a lot. I think it's a lot of
Yeah.
women.
Like anybody definitely who has any physical disease. So if you have any physical ailments, literally if you're on any medication, not even supplements, like if you're taking medication for a disease, a pain, a something, even if it's Tylenol, um, you're not addressing the deeper issues, the basic functionalities of the body. And this is not even exercise because you can exercise and do breathing and exercise, like inhale and exhale through exertion. That's one type of exercise and breathing when you're even in yoga. When you're home in your environment around your family, like that's a whole different type of breathing. That's a whole different focus. Would you not agree?
You know, I think that I think that we end up altering our breath um in so many
Holding our
different,
breath.
yeah,
Like,
in so many different scenarios. And because breath is one of these things where like we don't have to be conscious of it to do it. And then sometimes when we do become
mm,
conscious of it, it's like awkward and weird, and we're like, well, I don't even know what I'm doing right now. that it is such a it's a difficult thing to like start paying attention to. But when I realize how many women are chest breathers or breathing with their upper body because they're holding their gut so tight, I realized like even just educating about like, hey, these are the actual muscles involved in proper breathing, and let's practice just doing that. But I
Relaxing,
agree, like,
letting things
yeah,
go.
relaxing the belly and letting that full belly breath happen. I think like singers, or like speakers or something like there's certain types of people who understand what the breath does in the body and how to use it. Um, Singers, I think, are taught to belly breathe because that takes the fullest breath and they can control it on the way out. Um, I might be wrong, but I feel like that was something I learned when I was in choir in 8th grade,
Yeah, and it's
was
a
the belly
different
breath.
type of breathing, right? It's for them the breathing was so that they could sing and project their voice and do all those things. I felt that in fitness, like when I had to like speak over music and speak to a large crowd, like I don't have that same capacity anymore because I don't practice it anymore. So if I have to, to speak over a group of loud over music, that was a different type of breathing. So like I think there's types of breathing for so many different things. And I think that when we're talking about getting into the body and getting quiet and restful and just focusing on that breath is a different basic need. Like you'll breathe unconsciously because your body is built to survive. So you'll breathe. That's not intentional breathing. That's not mindful breathing. That's not purposeful breathing. That's not mind body connection at all. So when you start to focus on your breath in any way, shape, or form, then you have that connection. Like, pay attention to your breath. You are now connected to your body, right?
If we do just take a moment to pay attention and to breathe, if we watch our breath, we can start there. Just watch our breath. What's it doing currently? Where is it going? And this is one of the wonderful things about yoga is that that's the kind of language of like just settle into your body and let your mind's eye watch where your breath is going in your body. And but certainly like so that's one way of being aware of your body. And then if you realize like, oh, I'm breathing all with my upper body, learning how to breathe with your belly and then practicing that is going to change your nervous system. So
Mm-hmm.
so it's not just about body awareness, it's about purposefully changing your nervous system, how you are engaging with your body, um, to practice that.
Right.
So if it is at first like a sit down practice of like for 3 minutes I'm just going to belly breathe, um, great, because that's just a start. That's a good starting point of like learning how to belly breathe for 3 minutes. That's it. You are doing something. You're changing your nervous system. You're massaging your gut. You're moving your lymph through your body. Those are actual physical things that change just by belly breathing
Getting
and
to the calm,
engaging with
getting
that.
calm.
That it does, yeah. So it's going to engage with the vagus nerve, which is kind of like your rest and digest part of your nervous system, and it's going to change anxiety levels and digestion. So yeah, like you don't have to even like think so much. You just have to do a physical practice and allow a change to occur.
Right. And this is so important. And I love that because, like I have breathing as much as I am conscious about my breathing every day. I'm not. I do other things to calm my nervous system. So, even though I, will take a few breaths or whatever else, I feel like you guys got to find your thing. Like for me, sometimes it's tapping, which requires breathing, but to just literally like calm the nervous system. So remember, like women over 40, women struggling with weight, women, you know, struggling with stress, anxiety, like all the things. Literally, we need to get to calm. Because remember, we just talked about stress is not going anywhere, right? So if we could help women find all the ways, like all the ways you need to get to calm as many times as possible in a day. It could be through like this simple breathing, connecting to your body, slowing your breath down enough where you're just calming yourself, because that will turn off cortisol, right? That's what that, you know, the stress hormone cortisol. That helps control insulin. And that also, because that connects the body, the digestion, the rest and digest kind of thing. As I take a deep breath right now, because I tapped, I touched a few spots. So, like, and body awareness. Like, where is your breath going? Like, it really is so simple. It really can be so simple that we over complicate things. We feel like we have to do all the things. It's like you don't have to do all the things. You just have to find the one thing that works for you. And my job is to bring you all the fucking ways so that you can just pick something that will work for you. You don't have to do it all, because God forbid we do enough. You don't need to do it all. Just find the one thing that works. And if it's just as simple as like laying in bed in the morning before you get up to focus on your breath, to reset, to do whatever, I tap. And so on my phone, I have all these reminders to throughout the day to tap. People could do that with breathing. Remind yourself to just breathe. You don't have to do all the ridiculous tapping, because, you know, that's what I do. But for you, I think that, you know, how long, like what's a basic, you know, practice, like if maybe we can go through something, a basic practice that we can give women right now that they could do 2 or 3 times a day to get back to their body and their selves.
So I don't really know how long, but I know that in some massage studies, there was some studies that were done that were like as little as 10 minutes, doing massage for 10 minutes made a difference in people over time. So even if we just took a few minutes at first and just paid attention, I think that's the thing, is like, is getting to the place where we are paying attention to what is working for us and what is not. Like,
Right.
that's going to guide you. So if 3 minutes didn't quite do it for you, then maybe you need 5. Or if 3 minutes did, well, maybe you could do it in 1, and that's going to like connect you right away and you're going to be good. So as far as like a proper breathing, if everyone needs to know what they need to know, as I'm going to sit up a little bit so you can see me a little bit better, but we've got our diaphragm is underneath our ribs. So our diaphragm is here, it is pulling down. So when it pulls down, it is creating a larger volume in our lung, which automatically makes the breath want to come in, because we're creating a vacuum. So if we're holding our belly tight here, if we're holding it super tight and not letting our diaphragm come down very far, everything, the volume has to come up from here. So then we're going, and that's just not effective. It's not going to be the one that's going to heal us. So if we let our bellies relax and just soften, I think it is easiest.
Yeah.
I think it's
God forbid, just let it hang for a second.
Oh no, we're going
God.
to show that we have a belly.
Yeah.
I think it is easiest if we focus on the exhale first, because so often if we don't release the things that need to be released in our lives, we're not creating a vacuum to allow the fresh stuff in. And if we're focusing on like, all right, bring more in, we already have so much in. We got to know how to release the stuff first. So I like to teach an exhale first. So I'm going to stand up so you can see my side view. So here is my belly relaxed. I'm going to exhale. And then I'm going to inhale. And all I'm doing for an inhale is relaxing that tension. So as I am, here's my belly relaxed. As I am exhaling, my stomach is engaged.
That's like that.
So now I'm just going to relax my stomach. Automatic inhale.
Yeah, because your body's going to naturally breathe because it has to breathe.
It's going to take an inhale. Yeah.
Focus on the exhale. Your breath will naturally come in. as much, or
It'll,
do you have
yeah.
to like extend? Do you have to focus on
I
the,
just relax. I just relax and it'll naturally start to take a breath in. I mean, you try it. You tell me what's
oh yeah.
happening.
I feel like that's like the yoga Kabbalah body breathing or whatever it is, right? Where they start with an exhale, right? So they start with an exhale, push every, and here's the funny thing is, if you breathe out, everything sucks in anyways. You don't have to hold it, you don't have to hold your belly in. Sucking it in is like exhale. You probably should exhale to suck it in, not inhale, right?
Well, that's the thing. So everyone in that wellness workshop was already
Yeah,
holding their stomachs tight because we have to. And then their inhale was up. So like their inhale is so
right.
they're holding, they're sucking their stomach in and taking this inhale from up here. And so
Yeah,
I was
so
telling them to
pull
press
your
their
belly
stomach
button
together
in.
to
So,
exhale. And they were like, that's what I
yeah,
do when I inhale. I'm like, what?
right, right. I get it now what you're saying when you said they had it backwards because, take a deep breath in, your belly should extend, not come in.
Correct.
So that's like a
Correct.
yoga breath, right? Extend the belly and then exhale to pull it in. Push the breath out. So, and it's funny, if you focus just on breathing out, your belly will come naturally further in and then relax to let the breath come in and the body will just do it naturally. Wow, I did it. And here's the thing, that is the mind body connection. Like you're not thinking about anything else. If you just try to,
Exactly.
it's like brushing your teeth with your left hand, right? If you want to start to like, create more synapses in your brain, brush your teeth with your non-dominant hand. If you're left-handed, that's not gonna work. So same thing. So we're doing a naturally reverse action to what we've been led to believe. So if you just focus on that, exhale, bring your belly button in, inhale to relax, you're not thinking about anything else. You're just
Yeah. So
focusing
that's
on,
why,
you're just being, you're just like, okay. And look at me, I was like giggling. So like I had it backwards. Great, get it wrong. At least you're trying, right?
yeah,
Like there's no right or
exactly.
wrong if you like, oh, suck it in when you inhale. But if you're like consciously thinking and like literally, I'm sure 3 minutes have passed while we were doing this and no one was worried about their bills or their kids or their whatever else, right? Like simple. Like we need
It
to
is
get
a
back
simple
to simple.
practice. And it's a deeper sense of body awareness. It is body awareness, but it's also a purposeful action with your muscles of your abdomen
And we're
and then
digesting,
as
we're
you are
literally massaging
you are
all
massaging your belly, you're massaging the
your
contents of your
intestines, your
viscera, your
all the
guts,
things.
everything, and then changing your nervous system with because the vagus nerves goes down to our gut. So,
Yeah,
and it
see, you don't
runs
even
through the
have to go to
diaphragm.
yoga to do this. You don't even have to go to
No,
yoga
you
to do
don't.
this, although I highly
No.
recommend you still go move your body in some way, shape, or form, because that's a non-negotiable no matter what. But definitely focusing just on your breath, literally 3 minutes, 2 or 3 times a day will put you in that state of calm. And I feel like, there's overcomplicate things as much as you want if you feel like you need to do this or that or everything else. But I feel like if that's the case, then you're just really comparing yourself to other people. So maybe, you don't want to do this. Maybe tapping is your thing. I haven't even discovered all the literally 1 to 3 minute things that we could do to get calm on a daily basis to reconnect with our bodies because, I'm going to work to make a list of 10 because um, I want to give women a simple no excuse, no excuses. There are like literally, by all means, if you want to continue to make the excuses, have fun. But I'm going to live in the calm and the joy and the ease and the simplicity and, be pain free and well, not necessarily stress-free, because like I said, I don't think stress is going anywhere in our lives. So this is why we need to focus on calm. We really need to focus on finding the ways in life in which we can have those moments of calm to reset and then go do. Come back to being and then go do the things, right? Especially, when women find there are things that they just can't say no to. As much as you want to, there are things that we can't say no to, or that we don't want to say no to, even though we should say no to them. We just can't for whatever reason. So that's why it's way more important to do these small little simple things for you, so that when you find yourself making that choice, you can choose to be like, okay, maybe I'm going to choose to overextend myself in this little way right now, but it's not going to cost you, right? It's when those
And
choices.
we've got the tools then to whenever we have the experiences of like, I don't want to say yes to this thing, but for the greater good of everybody else, I am going to say yes, and that's going to be my choice. First of all, we feel empowered because we are making that choice. We don't really want to do it, but it's for the higher purpose, and I will choose to say yes. And it will cause a little stress for me. So what do I have for myself? I've got my body, I've got my breath, and that's going to anchor in. So whenever we can connect and stay with ourselves in that way, like honor our bodies in those ways of deciding to then take some time to breathe properly because it's going to reset our mind, or whatever it is, where we can stay anchored in. If it's tapping, if it is an exercise practice, or whatever it is that's going to reconnect us to who we are. We have our bodies. That's all we have. Once we don't have our bodies, we don't exist.
Right.
So
Yeah.
anchoring back in.
Yeah, we're a spirit in a meat suit essentially, right? So, reconnecting that. And I think that, and you know what? There are women out there who will say their joy is in giving to others and their family. Like that's what fills them up. So I'm going to, for those women, those acts of service women out there, I see you and I challenge you to offset that by giving to yourself, because you will have way more to give. And you won't be giving from a place of resentment because you feel you have to. You can make a choice. You can give to yourself more fully so that you can give your family that much more, because you'll have given to yourself first. I don't want to say don't. Avoid the what's it called? The drain. Fill yourself so you can give. Because I know women are out there that it's their joy. They just want to give and give and give and give to their family. They don't want to say no. Like I'm that way too. So I love that you said it's your choice. Choose to give, but remember that you have a reserve. You have a bandwidth. You only have so much. So instead of like depleting yourself, that's it, depleted. Instead of depleting yourself completely, give to yourself first, recharge, get a full battery. And then, because I know that there's those women out there that will continue, but this is a choice, your choice, balance. This is the true balance, is not, it's energy. How much energy do you have? And when you empty that energy store and you continue to give, this is where people get sick, because you start to pull the energy from your body, your muscles, your tissues, you know what I mean? Like this is why you're sick. You have to stop, give to yourself, get well. So it really, I don't know about you, but when you fill your cup and you have that overflow, isn't it so much easier?
It's effortless.
Yeah, thank you. Effortless giving, effortless giving. And so offset. So if you feel, and we overgive, so it's true, like we probably do too much. So this is when you have to like take the time the next day and be like, it's all about me. No, you have to say no. This is the boundaries where it's like, I overgave yesterday. I did all the yeses when I probably shouldn't have. This is when we can say, all right, now today is for me, or, and it doesn't really take a whole lot to refill. It really doesn't. It really doesn't. Literally 3 minutes a few times a day, 15, 20. And, that could be a workout, a breathing session, whatever it is. Like just give yourselves those moments. So where can, people reach out to you if they want to get a little bit more information about how to really do this breathing properly? Because we didn't really get into the ins and outs, we just kind of showed. So where can
Mhm.
people find you, Anita?
So I am on Instagram, and my handle there is Freedom in Honesty. My business name is Freedom in Honesty.
Mhm.
Um, there's some underscores in there, freedom underscore in underscore honesty. That's on
Okay.
Instagram. And on Facebook, I'm just Anita Brown on Facebook. And I probably have a freedom and honesty like cover photo on my Facebook. Um,
She's a
those two
member. She's in
places,
the Inner Motion Wellness group. So,
yes,
you
and
can
I'm in
tag her in there. I'll tag you in there when I share this.
both of
Freedom
those
and
locations
honesty.
also have got a link for signing up for my newsletter. So if somebody actually wants to get in my email, they can find that link for my newsletter and just put their email on there, and I'll start writing to them.
I love it. Thank you so much, Anita, for being here
Thank
and sharing
you.
your little tidbits. I love it. I really feel like, taking, finding a place to start. This is one of my biggest takeaways, right? Starting point, finding a place to start where you can create the safety to allow yourself to do this breathing, and get to figure out what your needs are. Those were my biggest takeaways today, so that we can be naturally joyous, so it can be easy and effortless.
Mm-hmm. Thank
Thank
you so
you.
much for
Thank
having
you.
me, Lori. It was great to talk
My
with you.
pleasure. Yeah. All right, awesome. So I'm going to, if you guys have want to connect with Anita, I'm going to post all her links and stuff in the group, and we will see you next week. Bye.
Bye.